With the holidays fast approaching, it is time for snowflakes. And today I'm going to be teaching you how to make this one. This is Anna from Paper Paradise, and I hope you enjoy this tutorial. All the materials and tools I'm going to be using in this tutorial are listed in the description below. I'm going to be doing this snowflake in blue, but as you can see there's many combinations that you can use. We are going to start by creating the outline of the snowflake, which are these diamond shapes. And for that we will need quilling body. The reason I have this strip here is to mark which size I'm going to be using so I don't forget. So we'll be using the sizes above that strip. To start, we just take one strip of paper in white and I'm going to start wrapping it around this shape. Once I get to the part where the strip was already there, I'm going to take my glue bottle, lay a bit of glue along the strip, and then I just bring it over. And you have to be a little careful to keep this tight, and also press it down against the edge so it's all leveled. So you gotta keep pushing it down and make sure everything is gluing to the strip that's already there until you reach the end. When you reach the end, you'll notice there's a little tab there. We're just gonna snap that off, and we have our first shape. Now this is a square, not a diamond. So what I'm going to do next is accentuate the creases on this, like that. You might want to let it dry a little more before you do this, just to make sure everything is nice and sticking. But there you go, now you have the diamond shape that we will end up with in the final design. So you need 6 of these because usually snowflakes have hexagonal shapes, which means they have 6 sides to them. And I already made some of them. So the next step we're going to do is to glue these down. Now in some of my videos I say the corkboard and this grid are totally optional, but in this video I think you cannot work without them, simply because it's going to be really hard for you to glue these things together and keep them together in a nice shape, symmetrical shape, without it. So I'm going to start by placing the diamond shapes between lines. You see these red lines, the full ones? They will be my guide for these shapes. And for that, I just put a pin in one end. I pull the shape up so it's between these lines. Hold it there, and I put another pin on that end. And I will keep it nice and straight. Then I go on the side, lay a bead of glue along the side here, bring another one of these shapes and glue it to make sure it doesn't go anywhere. I'm going to take a pin, put a pin here, sure this side is glued together. Push this side until it lines up with the line, and then take another pin and place it up here. And I will be pressing the sides that are glued together against each other and down, so everything is leveled. And I will just continue doing the same thing all around until we have all 6 of them glued down. Now if you notice there's some gapping in between the shapes, you can always go in with another pin on each side and make sure they are pressed together. Or if you have a little clip, one of those little tiny clothespin clips, you can use it on here and just keep it there for a little bit until everything is glued down. Now that this is done, we are going to start on the inside shapes. And as you can see, those are teardrops, which are pretty simple to make. We are going to start with a loose coil and then shape it into a teardrop. For that, I'm going to use the darker tone. You already know the drill. You just put your tool in, you just put your strip in the quilling tool and start rolling. Once you reach the end, take it off, and I use my trusty template. The sizes for this template are in the description, so you can find it there. I like this better than the rulos with the circles because it's faster for me. Put a little bit of glue on the end and make sure it's stuck. Repeat the same thing for all of them, and then we'll move on to shaping them. Now that we have all the shapes done, let's make them into teardrops. For that, I'm going to hold the center and I'm going to rotate it a little bit so that the distribution of the coils is a little more even. And then I'm going to push and squeeze one of the sides. This makes a teardrop. And I'm trying to get this little tab here on the edge of the teardrop so it hides it a little more. And I just do the same with all of them. Once we have those all shaped, I cannot take this two off. Notice how I held this down when I pulled the pins off. That's something you always need to do, or else you might mess up your design. All right, so these go in there. And to glue them down, I'm going to take out the pin that's holding the shape there. I'm going to put a little bit of glue on each side. And then I'm going to take the pin, put it in one of the loops of the teardrop shape, and pull the teardrop shape until it's right snug against the tip there. and then I push the pin down and I push the whole shape down to make sure everything's leveled. You always need to do this constantly with when you're making snowflakes and pinning things down, because sometimes it tends to warp, and if that's the case, in the end you'll end up with something that's all weird and not leveled, and you don't want that. So let's do the same thing to all the teardrop shapes around the snowflake. I don't know if you noticed, but these the loops in the coil tend to pull to one side, and I like to align them all to the same side as I go along. It's just my OCD. You can do whatever you feel better doing. It really doesn't matter. See how easy that was? And we nearly have the thing all done. So the next step would be to create the beehive design that goes inside each shape. For that, you are going to need about 1 strip and 2 more little coils in each one of these. So each coil with my curling usually gives me 6 of these little curls. So for the whole thing I need 8 strips total, but that might be different for you. This is the beehive technique is one of the most variable ones that I've found, and not everyone does it the same. It requires a lot of practice, so if you want to practice before you put them in there, that's the best option, I'm guessing. Alright, so to start the beehive, you place your quilling tool on the strip about a finger width down. This is not a scientific measurement, you just kind of eyeball it, and then you start rolling your tool upwards, and you roll until you're done with the strip there. Usually that takes 3 rolls for me. Take it out, place it down about the same length, and I roll it up again towards this guy, and that also will take 3 rolls. Don't go past that, because then you start taking this one apart. So 1, 2, 3. Take it out, put it back down, 1, 2, 3. Same thing until you run out of strip. So as you can see, I have 6 little coils in here, and I still have this piece left. I'm not gonna bother with that, I'm just gonna snip it off. Sometimes I don't get any piece off, and I just get 6 coils from the whole strip. So you see how variable this is. In the end, you just want to fill this. So don't stress too much about it, just curl your strips, and in the end you'll figure out what you need to fill that. So I'm gonna curl all the rest of them, and then we'll fill it. Okay, so we have our little coils there. Now we are going to place the glue along the walls of this shape. make sure all the walls have a little bit of glue there so these guys don't go anywhere. And then I'm just gonna place them in here. I know that from those guys, that the ones I did previously, that it takes about 4 little coils on one side, and then I fold the side over and tuck these two in here. Still a little gap there, which means I'm gonna take 2 from another strip and tuck them in here. And there we have it. And I'm gonna do the same exact thing all around. And I have to press them down, make sure everything is level. Same thing all the time. So the last step is going to be this little ridge here. And for that, we're going to use yet another tool. This time we are going to use the quilling comb. This technique, I'm not sure it's going to be very easy to show you, but I'll do my best. Basically, we're going to go up and back and up and back and up and back and up and back, going further and further away from the center. Hopefully this will make sense once you see what I'm doing. To start with, I'm just going to go under 2 of the center tines, doesn't matter which ones. I'm gonna do that and then bring this tab over. It's easier to work at the edge of the tool, especially with the cardstock strips, because they're not very malleable. So I put a little drop of glue there. I bring this over, and now we are going to go just there. See how that is? And now we're going to come back up so that this tine is above the strip. And we're going to fold the strip to that side. First, we're going to put some glue here and then fold the strip. We're going to do the same thing on this side, going right next to where the strip was and coming up on the other side of that tine. Oops. Some glue here, bring it over and continue the process, going down right next to the strip, bring it up on the other side, glue, bring it over. Usually I just go on the top there and slide it under so I don't have to do the whole looping. That takes a lot longer. Glue, bring it to the other side, slide it over, pull it down so it's sticking there. And I'm also pressing everything with my fingers so they're all leveled. You can see it's going up on the other side, up and up and up as we're going further away. And you continue this process until we have 4 little bumps on each side. So you have 3 on this side, 2 on this side. We're about to get 3. Now we have 4 on this side. Big around that guy. And oops. Now we'll have 4 on each side, so we're done with this one. Just put some glue down. You can bring the glue all the way to the end. Bring the strip over and take it off. We have this little tab here, which is going to snip it off. And now that we have this little bow, we're going to put our nail in the center here and give it a slight push, just so it has that bow to it. And we're going to do the same with 6 more strips, and then we'll glue it on the snowflake. Now that those are all done, let's go back to our little snowflake and glue them down. For this, we are going to put a bead of glue along the outside edge here. You don't need to go all the way to the end because they won't reach that. And you take a pin, and we're going to press this in there and put the pin as tight as we can to press this against the edges. And there you have it. Our snowflake is all done. Now I just have to let it dry completely, and then you can do other things to it, like put some glitter on it, put a sealant coat on it, put some jewels in the center there or something like that. Sky's the limit with what you can do with it. But the tutorial is finished. This is a great snowflake for beginners because it has a bunch of different techniques and you have to repeat them so you get a lot of practice. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, please consider subscribing, and I'll see you next time.